Yo, what is up YouTube? I hope you guys liked that little intro video that my friend Cam Brown put together for me. Cam, I appreciate that visual. Back to the haircut, we are going to do a 1.5 on the top with a mid skin fade on the sides. First things first, clean all your equipment and then slap on that 1.5 guard and hit the hair in all directions. Another good tip, guys, is to hit the hair diagonally against the grain, and that ensures a more even cut on the top of the head. Now notice how I keep hitting that same area right there on the top left side of his head. That's probably one of the darkest spots that I had to deal with. Pro tip for you guys, keeping your clients clean throughout the whole service is the best thing you guys can probably do. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of don't like having all that itchiness around my neck, so neither do the client, so just remember that when you're cutting the hair. Moving on to your initial guideline. For the guidelines, I kind of like to base it on the reference points along the head. By reference points, I mean eyebrows, temple points, and etc. points like that. So just remember that. So for the mid fade here, we're going to keep the 0 at or around the temple point area above the eyebrows, barely touching above the eyebrows, and then I'm slightly dropping it in the back because I like to ensure my safety of my fades. So I kind of raise it when I need to, and the back is probably the hardest part because you gotta keep that occipital bone kind of hidden and kind of more naturally faded instead of taking it too high and exposing it too much. Once you get your 0 out of the way, you're gonna drop down to your trimmer of choice. You're gonna trim it down, guys, and don't go above that reference point that we were talking about. And then once you're done with your trimmer, go back to your clipper of choice and then open it up. By opening up the lever, I mean the teeth are furthest away from each other, and I like to use the notch by notch technique. It kind of makes it easier for myself to fade. And if you don't have any notches on your clippers, you can think about your clipper as 100% full, 75% full, 50% full, 25% full. So you can narrow it down to increments. This is a way to use kind of a similar notch by notch technique when you don't have notches on your clippers. Now notice, guys, I am still keeping the fade dropped towards the back. I am keeping that mid fade on the occipital bone area, so it's not really too high when I'm finished with this haircut. Now notice, guys, I'm still using my brush in my left hand to keep the client nice and clean and keep the canvas nice and clean, as I like to see it as. I don't like to see it as a person's head. I like to see it as a canvas because you pretty much are sculpting hair into a fade. And then you're going to slap on your half guard once you're completely done with your open notch by notch technique. And you're going to work your way up the same way. Notch by notch, it's the same technique. We're keeping it nice and simple for you guys on this buzz cut bald fade, so it's not going to get too complicated for you guys. And remember, guys, you got to use your mirror, use your chair to your advantage. Turn the client and look at him in the mirror, and look at him at different spots of the lighting that you have in your shop or in wherever you're cutting, and that really helps a lot. And it kind of helps you build your eye, as I like to see it, for fading. And notice here how I'm still digging deep in there with the corners of my blades with a half guard and still brushing the hair nice and smooth. You don't see no pressure. You don't see the client bobbing his head too much. My wrist is nice and relaxed, guys. There's no need for you to be pushing in with your hand. Just kind of let the clipper do the work and guide it. Quick tip for you guys, the brush that I'm using on my left hand, I like to use talc powder on these brushes to remove any excess hair or oil or water that I have on the client's scalp. Slapping on your 1 guard. Your 1 guard should automatically blend into the 1.5 for the most part when you fully open it. I like to switch back and forth from taking my clips off to putting my half guard on to putting my 1 back on to moving the levers, tweaking in between the levers. And the big key to these haircuts, guys, is listening to your hair clippers cut. If you can't hear it cut, that means you need a smaller guard or you need to go down in the size. But remember, you do not want to hear it too much. You should slightly be hearing the corners barely even grazing any hair. Listening to your clipper is a major technique that you guys should master, and and know how to listen to while keeping that conversation with your client. This client is actually a first timer in my chair. He is a reference from somebody else that sat in my chair, so word of mouth is always great. When you're having a conversation, you really want to keep it going. You really want to get to know them. They're with you for a reason because they see your work and they like your work. So take advantage of the time that you have and get to know them, what they do for a living, what type of business they're into, where they want to go with their business. Ask them all these good questions because their mindsets can eventually build off to you. But you also really got to see who you're talking and conversating with and the type of lifestyles they have. But, all these are key to building a connection. And you ultimately want them to keep coming back because that's what us barbers want, guys. You can't just expect these clients to just fall out of the chair. Yeah, you could probably work for a shop that has the clients for you, but when you're trying to build up and be your own boss and be self-independent, you really got to market yourself and really got to get out there and get these clients for you guys. Hand out them cards, talk to people, let them know that you're a barber. Instagram and social media is the best way to go. But remember that, guys, that is a great tip for you guys. So now that I got all my clipper work out of the way for now, I'm going to jump with my shaver and go ahead and balding out. Going down with the grain kind of ensures that it doesn't hurt the client at first when you're shaving it down, and then you can go against the grain, makes it a lot smoother. Now notice how I'm going back here and I'm tweaking the haircut with my guards after I already shave it down. Once you shave it down, you can already see the spots that you need to go back and touch up. Now a haircut like this I can easily finish in 25, 35, 40 minutes, but since it's a first time client, I want to take my time with him. Just for you guys, I like to use all the time I have to take advantage and learn new techniques and just talk to the client. Or even if you don't want to talk to the client and you want to try new techniques, there's nothing wrong with taking some extra time just to practice your skill, guys. This is how you're going to grow in the long run, and the only way to do it is to practice it on people that you are uncomfortable with, so that way you are more comfortable with yourself in the future. Now notice how I slapped my 1.5 guard back on just to kind of go back and secure all the hair on top. For the lineup, guys, you really want to take your time here. You don't want to push any lineups back unless you absolutely need to, but start from the middle and work your way out towards the outer edges. If you're not comfortable with lineups, the edges, you can keep them a little bit lower to start off with, and then kind of look at your client and raise them when you need to, and do not raise them too much. Remember, you're going to go back and line it up with the razor blade anyway, and the razor will define it a lot more than your trimmer ever will. And if you ever need to push your hairlines back, it's usually because it's a widow's peak. Other than that, do not try to push back your client's lineup. This technique is called the clipper over comb, but you can use your trimmer and call it trimmer over comb, and this is great for detail fading, guys. If you turn your client's head and look at it, you might see some edges, some steps that you might have missed, so this is a good technique to use. So once you are fully done with the haircut to your liking, a great tip that I like to give is to place a towel over the collar shirt of the client and lay it over the shoulders. This shows the client that you do not want him to get any excess hair in the back of his shirt or any excess shaving cream like I am shaving his neck here. So guys, if you do not do this, I highly recommend adding it onto your services. All my clients love it. It's really relaxing and soothing, and it makes it feel nice and fresh once they're done with their haircut. And when you're using a razor, guys, you really want to be really light with it. You don't want to put too much pressure on it. Once you're done with your client, you want to wipe him off, place that towel over his shoulder, move on to his lineup. Another good tip for you guys is to place the towel on the client's shoulder of whichever side that you are closest to. For the razor blade, you really want to be light to the touch. You don't want to put too much pressure on your client's skin. That'll just irritate it. What I like to do is use a backhand stroke like this and go up against the grain. Use the time, clean around the ears, take the towel off, and I am moving it to the side that I'm going to. Guys, all these techniques, they take time. The only reason why I got so good at them is because I wanted to do them, and I took my time with every single client, and I just did them. That was it. And that's the only way to grow in this type of business, because it's all self-taught. I spend a lot of time watching and studying other barbers cut in videos and in barbershops, so I just want to pass this knowledge to you guys and make it simple for you guys. But here I am still doing the lineup. I am looking at him straight on, and I'm using my corner of my blade to kind of create that 90-degree angle. And this is a great technique, guys, for creating 90-degree angles in your lineups. Go against the grain, take my time with the lineup. That is the major key in lineups. No need to rush something good, guys. Once you got all the razor work done, go ahead and spray them down with your aftershave of choice. I use the Proxima aftershave and it smells pretty damn good, guys. Y'all guys should check it out. But spray them anywhere y'all guys use the razor blade to reduce any irritation. But that is it, guys, for my first tutorial video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have any questions on any parts that I went over, please comment or message me. I am more than happy to answer them and make more videos for you guys. I will make more in-depth videos on conversations and stuff like that for you. So stay tuned, and I hope you guys like this. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow the socials. I'll see y'all guys on the next one. Thank you, guys.